Yeah, so thank you, everybody. We'll have the panel portion towards the end of the call and end of the presentation, and we'll introduce everybody in order at that time. So again, thank you so much. The format is 15 minutes, more of an educational session. Where are robots today? What's happening? What are the market trends? What are the larger forces in play? And then 15 minutes panel discussion, and then 15 minutes Q&A. And then we'll wrap it up. So yeah, let's kick it off. So robotics, there's a lot of hype. Everybody's talking about AI. You see all these humanoids on CBS News and Fox News. And how much of this is actually real and how much of it is hype? To be honest, everything that looks like that, like a human being, that's more hype than actual reality. There's really very, very little value being created today by the humanoids. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that will change. But as of today, we're not there yet. However, there is an entire breed of robots that are providing tremendous value in day-to-day operations. From an ROI perspective, from a labor management perspective, from just an efficiency perspective. Most of those robots don't look like a human being, but they look closer to this, or the one that we have running around. Where is it's over there, back over there. You will see it shortly. Yes, so that's what a lot of the robots today that actually provide value do look like. It's like a box on wheels that have a specific task and do it really well. Be it delivery, be it transport, be it cleaning. And that's where the true business value lies today. So quick things about me. So Anand, got my PhD at Stanford. I have been a janitor and I have built robots. So straddled both sides of that same coin and seen firsthand how hard it is, our job as janitors, especially how backbreaking it is and what we can do about this. That being said, together with our partners, specifically SoftBank, we have put out about 35,000 robots globally across the country, across the globe. We have a large number of clients from hospitals to airports. Orlando Airport, did anybody fly in? No? Okay, well, next time you go to Orlando Airport, the MCO airport, we have robots over there. We have a large number of hotels, casinos. Anybody here like casinos? Yeah?
Tonight's casino night.
Tonight's casino night. MGM, Caesars, Venetian, Wynn, they all use these robots to keep their spaces clean. We actually have somebody from Disney, so we'll talk about that shortly. So right here in your own hometown, all the things that we have for robotics related. So it is a reality. It's there. People are using it. Question is, how do we make the most value out of it? So what do we do with this? The purpose of a robot, a lot of times when people think of a robot, they're like, hey, it's going to be the silver bullet. I'm going to hire a robot and all my problems are going to go away. That's not going to happen. Just outrightly, no. All the robot will be able to do today, and down the line this will change, but what it does today and does really well is this is what day-to-day operations look like. You prep the equipment, the employee uses the equipment, either a ride-on or a side-by-side. I'm talking about cleaning specifically right now. And then you move on to your next task. What the robot does is you still need that employee to prep the equipment, get it to the right space, but then you hit the play button, and then the robot does the actual task. You don't need to babysit it. You don't need to ride onto it. So those are the hours you claw back. And then you can reallocate that particular human being to doing other tasks. So this is just level setting expectations, what the actual machine can do. There is still prep time involved. There is still downtime afterwards, cleaning it, taking out the hopper tray, dumping out the water, all of those things. Yes, there are docking stations where you can go and take care of that, but a large part of it is still a human in the loop. Here is an example. Unfortunately, one of our panelists could not make it, but he did this. This was at Stanford Hospital. We used to have 3 FTEs cleaning and just scrubbing the hospital it's a 7-story building, scrubbing it all day, every day. They were able to take 2 of our larger scrubbers, and they were able to completely reallocate that 1 FTE and put them towards more important tasks of turning over patient rooms. That is where the money lies for the hospital, and that's where they were really struggling. And there's always a shortage of human beings. So here is a good example of a case study of it actually working. And they've done this. They've had it for 3 years. There have been problems, but nothing that we could not surmount. Robots have broken down, we send in a new robot, and we fix it. We have someone from the OEM side, from SoftBank, and they'll talk a little bit more about servicing and why that is so important. Here's another good one. This is a casino in Lake Charles, Louisiana. We were able to reallocate one single robot was able to reallocate 3 FTEs, 1 per shift. They used to have 3 people per shift, 3 shift operations in just floor care. It's a 1,000-room hotel plus a large casino in Lake Charles, Louisiana. So how do we go in? How do you actually change that? A large part of this change management portion is incredibly important. That's what you guys do. As facility managers, being able to actually drive efficiency is non-trivial. And being able to understand where this technology plays to be able to drive that takes it from being a fancy toy and a paperweight to being truly operationally effective. And we partner with you in being able to make sure that you can get those results. Another good example was this is Minneapolis Airport. This is a stark example. Previously, they used to have 30 people on floor care for MSP Airport. 30 people, utility techs, riding scrubbers all night. They put in 30 robots, and now they reduced the task to 4 people. You have 4 human beings managing 30 robots. There was a big strike that happened, I think, in early 2022. The janitorial entire workforce went on strike. The airport was more or less unaffected because that's the nice part. Robots, at least as of right now, haven't unionized.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I've seen every robot.
But yes, so robots don't go on strike. Robots have a mute button. Almost every single person's favorite feature is the fact that you can literally mute that robot. And everybody asks, I wish I could do that to my employee. So that's the fun part. Universities. You all come from the educational sector. We have a good number of high schools, middle schools, universities. Here are some logos. Here is actually a really good example of University of Delaware. This is from 4/8 to 4/2022, last 2 weeks, literally. They were able to run the robots for 280 hours plus and get 1.13 million square feet cleaned autonomously using 8 robots. That is true efficiency. And these are just the last 2 weeks. It's not like we are cherry picking data. No, it's the last 2 weeks. Let's see what's happening in University of Delaware. Their target was 107 hours. That's the number they had to hit to be able to get a return on their investment. They are exceeding it. They're hitting 280 hours. They're getting a 2.8 return on a month by month on their investment. Where do robots fail? So you see all these success stories. Let's talk about all the failures. In my opinion, you learn a lot more from failures than from successes. Finding the right robot for the right environment is critical. You take the wrong robot and you put it in an environment where it's not set up for, you're going to fail. You're going to fail miserably. We just did a huge swimming pool cleaning robot in Mandalay Bay. They really wanted to take a pool robot and put it in their ocean area where they have the sandy beaches. I was like, please do not do that. My robot will have a horrible time. It's meant to clean the bottom. You put it in a sandy bottom, what is it going to do? So that's a bad solution fit for that particular robot. Yeah, you put it in your Olympic-sized swimming pools, fantastic. We clean the men's and women's US teams' Olympic pools. We can do that all day, every day, not a problem. Mapping, deployment. These robots don't just wake up and know exactly where you have to go. You actually need to program the robot. So partner with somebody who really understands how to use that robot and program it and take care of it. And like any piece of equipment, if you don't take good care of it, that thing is not going to last. These things will break down. If somebody shows up to you and says that, oh, our machines never break down, don't talk to them. They don't know what they're saying. This will break down, 100%. At 2 in the morning when your EVS guy needs to get from point A to point B, they're going to be rough with it. They're going to run it from point A to, and that's fine. I've been there. I've personally done that. I've not been gentle with my own equipment. So just make sure that you have guaranteed uptime, servicing capabilities, warranty, and support behind it, because this will break. So these are some of the failures that we have seen. Here is a good example, actually. We did this in a school. We had put it in a church cum school. It was a really good solution fit. It was the exact same machine that we have over there, the same type of robot. It was vacuuming it all day, every day. The problem we ran into, though, is they had only 1 FTE allocated for their entire school, and he was part-time. He was working like 6 hours, 7 hours every day. Now, they put in the robot expecting that, okay, the robot is going to take away 2 hours of their tasks. So this guy in the night will only work for 5 hours. But he didn't have another job. This was his only source of income, and he had 2 small kids. And he's like, I don't want to reduce my hours. If I reduce my hours, I'm taking less money back home. So he was still clocking in the same 6 to 7 hours every night, and he was using the robot. He loved the robot. The robot helped him, but there was no business case to be made over there. So we reallocated it. We took it away from that, and we put it in a massive bank, Bank of America. They were incredibly happy because they had 8 people over there, of which only 7 need to show up, and that one robot could sit and clean the lobby all day, every day. So again, finding the right business case, finding the right solution, finding the right area, and then being able to manage and deploy it becomes critical. Otherwise, it's riddled with failures. So what are some trends that we are seeing in the broader market? Specifically, aging population. People are getting older. Look around you. Look at the EVS staff. Look at the facilities folks who come. How often do you get somebody who's in their 20s, 30s, even 40s for that matter? Most people are coming in their 50s and 60s. It's the same people we had 20 years ago or the same people who are working today. What happens 10 years from now when they retire? 5 years from now when they get injured? That is the existential threat. In the current administration, immigration is at an all-time low. A large part of our workforce are immigrants. So how do you get that labor going forward? So those are the things, and the biggest threat actually is DoorDash and Uber. More and more people would rather sit in their car and be a DoorDasher or an Uber driver, listen to their music, be comfortable, than necessarily break their backs, mopping and scrubbing, especially the younger generation. So those are the things that are driving a large number of these trends. And then the price of labor. Again, we have someone from Marsden here. He can talk a lot more about this, but this is the reality. Labor has gone up, especially pre-pandemic to post-pandemic. And it's not going to come down. The unions are not going to let it come down. We don't have enough people. And as time progresses with inflation, the cost of labor just goes up. The beauty, however, is technology brings the costs down. Again, in today's administration, with the budget cuts that we are seeing across the board, especially in education, how do we manage? How do we continue cleaning and keeping our facilities running with lesser and lesser money while the costs of operations have gone higher and higher? Like, we're just getting to the point where things are starting to break. There's so much pressure. So many of the facility leaders we talk to are under constant pressure from their bosses that we just don't have the budget. But you still need to operate. We still need to give a clean space for our students. So how do you do that? And I don't have the answer. I'm not going to pretend I have the answer. This is one tiny part of a larger solution, but this is a large problem, and this is the reality that you all live every single day. So yeah, it's not a silver bullet. The last thing I want to do is tell anybody that, oh, robotics is going to solve everything. No, I'm not here to sell snake oil. I am an engineer at heart. I know exactly what these things can do and what they cannot do. We don't have humanoids that can show up and do everything. Not yet. Maybe down the line. Reliability is still a problem. We don't have a robot that will never break down. These will break down. You need good support. You need good service behind it. And pricing is expensive. It's getting cheaper. But there are ways around it also. We just did a large Clark County school deployment where the entire thing was financed out. Don't pay $800,000 up front. Break it up. 60 months, $25,000 per month. Life is so much easier. It's easier to get approvals as well. So yeah, that brings us to purchasing options. Again, we don't have enough time, so I'm not going to get into this, but you can buy them, you can lease them, you can rent them. Be creative. See where you are with capital committees. See what approvals are needed. If you're not in budget season or budgets are not going to get allocated, let's figure out how we can get you that same equipment without having to buy it outright. There are ways around it. So where are we today? Floor care, easy. That is something we can do all day, every day. Things that we are getting better at are outdoors. We have really good drones for facade cleaning. The window cleaning, not the greatest, but it's getting there. Lawn mowing, that's a solution that's really up and coming. Pools, easy slam dunk. Things you're not good at. Bathroom cleaning, far from it. High dusting, far from it. It's an R&D, but it's going to be a while before we get there. So that's the current state. This is where we're going towards the future. So how do operators think about this? This is the piece that a lot of people often miss out when they talk about robots, is the human piece. And this is critical. The reason we started this company was to help make the lives of janitors safer, make their lives slightly better. And you'll be surprised, the biggest advocate for robots are the janitors themselves, the people who use these every day, because they realize how much it can save them. That's Veronica over there. This was at MGM, Mandalay Bay in Vegas. She saw the robot running around. She comes up to the robot and starts talking to the robot, like, hey, follow me. Can you please clean this area? Robot doesn't understand, but I walk up to her and I'm like, what happened? Like, why are you talking to the robot? And she's like, well, my handheld vacuum is broken. My shoulder is hurting, but that area needs to be cleaned. So can you please ask the robot to go clean that area? And for me, that was the cutest thing ever. I was like, that is so adorable. That adoption by the front lines is incredibly meaningful. They are the ones who love it far more than anybody else. You will be surprised. Everybody thinks they're the ones who are going to fight it. No, they're the ones who really see the value in it. And that's the beauty. It creates a win across the board. Your bosses are happy because you've been able to clean at a lower cost. Your staff is happy because they're not breaking their backs. The union is happy. We have dealt with the roughest of unions. We have union approvals almost across the board, from Vegas to SF to New York. And you're happy because robots don't talk back. They don't go on strike. They don't call sick. They're always there. They don't have a grandpa who has died for the 8th time. So yeah, and that's the thing. Talent management. At the end of the day, we are in the people's business. Yes, we are in facilities, but our expertise are our people. And managing them, retaining them, upskilling them, in the world of AI, being able to give them a new set of skills, certifying them, giving them that, hey, I am now a robot operator, giving them that sense of pride is phenomenal. That's what keeps them. So that's all I had from the presentation standpoint. Again, if there are any questions, happy to take them, or otherwise I'll break into the panel. Quick introductions on the panel side. So we have Megan Oberlin. She is the senior product manager from Disney. She runs their entire automation from both the software and hardware and is a robotics expert. We have Rick Trilavin. He is the director of ecosystems from SoftBank. SoftBank is one of the world's largest companies, operates in the shadows, one of the largest investors in robotics, has their own robots, and he's a robotics expert himself. And then we have Shaz from Marston. He's actually based out of Florida, so he's local. And Marston is one of the largest janitorial companies. So from a day-to-day labor management portion, the business management portion is his expertise. So again, thank you, team. Thank you for coming here. We have had the pleasure to working together for multiple years at this point across the board. Any questions from the audience first before we kick in? Okay, I have some prepared questions for you. So in the order that we started, Megan, having worked for one of the world's largest and premier organizations, again, I don't want you to spill any secrets that you're not allowed to. NDAs are sacred. But when you look at new technology, especially robotics, what are some concerns people should have? Here we have some of the largest universities, and how should they perceive new technology as a whole? What are the questions they should be asking?
Gotcha. So can you guys hear me okay without the mic? Okay. I'm like, I can project. So definitely a lot of the things that Anand touched on are critical, right? Adoption is a big one. Giving people a sense of pride in operating these before they're fully scaled is a little more specific to some of the things we're doing at Disney, right? So there is a lot of confidentiality around the things my teams are doing. So there are things that Frankly, I may never be able to share with the public, but there's a very small group of frontline cast members who do have that knowledge. And it was interesting to watch some of the upfront concerns go from, oh, I don't know about how I feel about this, to, a month later, 2 months later, they're talking about what, these things are doing, how they're operating, where they're sharing stories with us. So watching that transition has been a really rewarding process for our team. The ROI is really there, right? Like, obviously you have to have that to sign your paperwork, to get your capital funding, all of those things. But it's there, right? Like, it's very obvious in a lot of these use cases. Some of the other things that our folks here will probably share is more along the lines of, how do we use these robots to increase our workforce? It's happening everywhere, right? Like, things I probably could share from Disney. I forget what the percentage is, but we're like 30% capacity in a lot of our hourly positions from what we were at in 2018. So you can imagine how that impacts a ton of situations, but primarily the guest experience, right? So if we can have our machines help us do some of these menial tasks, we can reapply our cast members to do more important things and be with our guests and help them enjoy their experience more, use our technology, and things like that. So partnering with Cardinal has been incredible because we do share a lot of the same values, and we have the same goals. Not just, everything is about money, everything's ROI, but there's so much more to it than that. And the experience has been, it's been great so far. And I look forward to your questions. I'm sure we'll talk more in a little bit.
Thank you, Megan. Rick, as a representative of one of the largest companies, especially in the robotics space, besides building a really, really good robot that does its task and does it well, what are the other things that are important that somebody who wants to buy a robot should know that go beyond in just the technical specifications and the price tag?
Yeah, it's a great question. And again, thank you for having me today. So we kind of think about three themes: frequency, consistency, and reliability. So have those first three things in mind when it comes to robotic adoption. All right, those are the things that you're looking to get out of it. Robotics really isn't anything new at the end of the day. Like, it's been around for a while. Like, I'm sure you all have attended various trade shows, ISSA, over the years. You've seen it. It is really nothing new. But one of the things that we talk about is, okay, with some of our partners is, okay, when were you looking to actually lean in and do this? And one of the things they come back and tell us is, listen, yes, like the technology has to be there, but it's also, what does that adoption and post-sale process look like? Okay, are you going to actually help me build this into my operation? That change management piece. Are you going to help me schedule? Are you going to help me train my team? Are these units going to actually be properly mapped? That deployment piece. And then, all right, when the units don't operate, what is my process then for being able to get up and running quickly? At SoftBank, there's a lot of different things that we could go out and do and invest and bring into market, but we're not going to if the technology isn't fit to actually scale and scale from a service standpoint. So if we can't go in and quickly address a transactional fix like a wheel or a caster, that's actually a big deal breaker for us, so we want to make sure that, all right, there are those transactional fixes that we can do really quickly. If we can't do it, then we need to make sure that we have the infrastructure in place to quickly swap out those units. So that is part of our SLA. So, all right, yes, the units will break down, but how quickly can we get you a new unit? The idea of having you all having downtime for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. That's like one of your employees being out on PTO or sick leave for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's a horrible experience. And so those are the things that we want to try and think about is, all right, yes, the technology needs to be there. We're going to go out and identify the best in class technology, but all right, is that technology ready for that post-sale scalability?
Thank you, Rick. Shaz, you are constantly getting beaten up by your clients to reduce costs. However, you run a people business and cost of operations have been increasing. What do you see the outlook of the labor market going forward, and how do you see cost management as a whole?
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for attending our presentation today. And thank you to FLAPA for the opportunity to present. Yeah, it's been tough. You know, I'm on the business development side, and I work very close with my operation partners. And I see the challenges that you're talking about. I hear about them every day. And we're using technology to help us recruit because the labor market, as you said, is shrinking. So we're using technology in other areas, not just robotics, as we started last year, but you know, we have software that's helping us recruit better. Minimum wage went from like 0 to 100 in Florida in the last 5 years or 4 years. You know, it used to be like at $10 an hour. Today it's going to be 14. So, you know, the clients are feeling the pressure as well because our prices go up. You know, you have 100 cleaners and they're at minimum wage and you have to give them everybody $1 increase in October. That's a big hit in the cost of doing servicing that client. So now with the introduction of Cardinal Robotics, we can help mitigate some of that staff pressure by bringing in robots. But as you said, we still need the human interaction. We still need the humans to deploy, and we still need the humans to do the work. So, you know, it's a constant challenge to keep staff and to retain your staff. So one of the biggest things at Marsden is our retention of our existing, you know, associates. And I think with the, you know, making someone a robot operator or a technician is a great path for their career. So at Marsden, we have something called STEPS, where it's striving towards every person's success. So it's in our fabric. It's in the cloth. Our CEO started off as a janitor, and today he's the CEO of one of the largest cleaning companies in the United States. So we have this program where we like to promote within, and so a janitor becomes a lead janitor, and then possibly a floor technician, and then an account manager, an area manager, director of operations, and continue to go on. So this is another tool in our belt to have robots to help retain our existing clients and associates, as well as to attract better people. Because at the end of the day, our client, if we treat our people well and take care of them and give them tools and technology, it's going to trickle down to better performance and a happier customer. Did that answer your question? Kinda, right? There's a question in the back.
I had a question. So a lot of times with like school boards and superintendents and things like that, it's a lot of times they want to see demonstrations, whether it's for a short period of time in a high touch area, the executive office or whatever. So is that something that I guess that would be maybe a question from the Disney standpoint first and foremost? And then secondly, talking about, you need that buy-in, you need people that, the boots on the ground, as it were, to be operators. Do you all provide that level of service for the initial onboarding, I guess, as it were, of utilization and then continuing education, or is that placed on the administrators at sites or from the district perspective or the school perspective?
Let's break that up into two parts. The second part, Rick, would you like to go about how we provide the education?
Yeah, I'll get started. So one of the things is this is going to be one of those things where, all right, you put a PO in, you get a robot on your loading dock, a week later. This is something that we want to be as methodical as possible. So the first thing, it's solutioning the right unit to the right environment. The next step is, all right, so once we've done that, it's doing a series of onboarding calls. Before we even show up, we're going to really understand, okay, where are these robots going to be deployed? What are the SLAs? All right, are we trying to cover X amount of square footage per hour, per day? Are we trying to do 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, or 5 days a week, 8 hours a day? We want to understand what those SLAs are, help you build out those schedules. All right, so a lot of that stuff, the baseline stuff, will all be defined before we even show up. Then we come on site, we'll do the mapping. So the mapping of the robots will be done in that deployment. Then it's, okay, hey, how do you all utilize the units? All right, so the maintenance practices. Then, hey, let's say you all want to map a robot in a new area down the road. We'll show you how to do that. Then once we leave, we're doing a series of check-in points along the way. Okay, so hey, are we hitting those benchmarks that we defined? Are we seeing any things where, okay, wait a second, every Tuesday at 2:00, the robots aren't operating. Oh, shoot, like we're actually doing maintenance in this zone every Tuesday at 2:00. Okay, let's switch up the schedule. This is something that's going to be an ongoing thing. And it's also going to be something ongoing with your team. Let's build in robotic education to, hey, your SLAs on new team training. So as part of their onboarding, they get to see, okay, this is how I operate the unit. That turnover, whether it's on the management side or an individual associate coming in, if they don't understand that program, the whole thing will fall apart. And so it's the continuing education piece. But it starts, that first 90-day period is really, really critical.
Yeah. To add to that, it's our responsibility. We will never put this is not going to be your headache as the administrator. We will give you the tools, we will teach you, we'll teach your team, we'll do the train the trainer. But if at any point you need further education that has been turned over, you need to redeploy to a different area, we will be with you lock, step, and barrel to make sure that your team is successful. So that's the second part of the question. The first part was with regards to the high touch area and wasn't quite, could you rephrase that, please? I didn't get that.
So, school boards operate at the speed of a snail. So a lot of times the decision-making process, there's a period of time where somebody wants to see the tangible results. What can this yield? And a lot of times that's either the public education center where the superintendent's walking by every day, or this board member, that board member, and then that's kind of getting your foot in the door to maybe something bigger, crawl, walk, run, right? So is that something that is offered for people that want to explore it, I guess?
Yeah, yes and no. So for a lot of the newer robots that are coming out on the market, 100%. Where if you want to see a demo, you want to do a pilot, that makes sense. But robots that have really proven themselves, when there are like 35,000 of them deployed, where you have a large number of universities, school boards across the country that are using them, oftentimes it's actually just easier, in my personal opinion, and we have done this, is to fly the decision makers to the closest relevant customer that they can go and see. More often than not, that's within driving distance. They're like, hey, let's just drive over to the neighboring town and talk to the existing school that uses these machines and learn from them. Because everybody can do a fantastic job for 2 weeks, 3 weeks during a demo period. The real knowledge of what works and what doesn't is over a few months time scale, and by talking to actual customers when the sales guy is not in the room. You want to throw him out of the room, you want to sit down, hey, as a school administrator to another school administrator, give me the real deal. Tell me what worked, tell me what didn't, tell me how often it broke down. Did it actually help you guys or not? And that, in my opinion, is far more important to a decision maker than seeing a fancy new toy chilling out there. Because most of the cleaning is anyway happening overnight. Those guys have gone way past by that time. So we have seen that being a lot more fruitful. And the decision makers really appreciate that. They're like, yes, I would rather talk to a peer of mine than see a machine charging.
I could actually add to that. So yeah, we've done deployments, whether it's in that K through 12 setting or that higher education setting, where that your peers who have leaned in, they can speak to, okay, what was it like to introduce this to someone who at the bottom of the totem pole, and then how did we present this to get budget to our school board? Or hey, how did we get new budget for this? And so those are things that we can absolutely peel back the onion. All of you probably have very unique circumstances when it comes to getting budget or your team. So that's something that we can absolutely unpack with you.
I might jump in a little bit too and offer a slightly different perspective, if you don't mind. For like trying to take what you might be struggling with, right? I wouldn't be able to call Bob Iger and be like, hey, I want you to come look at this cool robot that I think might be awesome, right? So my team has a unique specific set of like budget and tasks that we can actually, in some cases, we can buy some things into our lab for a low cost, and we keep that for a while, we lease it, right? And then we can start testing things out. Preparing a demonstration in some cases, I've got something running right now that from inception to the demo period, it's been 2.5 years, right? Speaking of the speed of a snail. But I will say that patience does pay off, and making sure that you are getting the right people involved at the right periods of time, right? So some of these things we had to strategically move, get the right PR folks involved, then start including the site leaders, right? Versus if we had gone up there first, it probably would have been shut down. So if you are able to put together a tiger team, so to speak, maybe put together a proposal for that, to invest in that research and demonstration of the new technologies, being able to bring those in and really test them and play with them, that might be a good option as well. So,
yeah, it's a great insight. Please.
I'm curious if lease or purchase, where do you find more clients are leasing them, or are they purchasing them outright, and what's the life cycle if you were to purchase them? How long do you expect them to last? And with technology changing, what a machine 3 years from now may be able to run circles around what you purchased today?
Highly quick question. What iPhone version are you on right now?
It's the latest one, the 16.
There you go. So every year iPhone comes out with a new version. The old version is still good, but not as great. If you look 5 years back, that was iPhone 9. I don't think anybody today is using an iPhone 9, in my assumption. So yes, technology does become obsolete relatively quick. Same thing with robots. The good part about a robot is the hardware doesn't change as quickly. It's closer to a car. The same way a Toyota or a Nissan releases a new version every 3 to 5 years, the robot comes up with a new version every 3 to 5 years. In the interim, all of the upgrades and updates are software, which is included in the cost of the machine. So you're getting the latest software every quarter, every month, the same way your phone is getting updated. But the hardware is changing every 3 years, every 5 years, just the iteration cycle on the technology side. To answer your question between lease versus purchase, honestly, it all depends on your organization and how you all are set up and where you are in budget season. So we have had, Marston's a great example, and I'll let each one of them answer individually as well. When Marston started, they were not in budget season. The first robot they ever wanted to buy was, I think, in January or February. And they're like, hey, listen, we're not in budget season. We're not going to be there until October. That's when we sit and allocate budgets. But we really need a robot. So what can we do? I was like, well, what's your budget? What's your decision-making authority? I can sign off up to this much per month. Great. We will make the robot work at that. So they leased it. They were very happy. Come December the same year, I got a call from their chief operating officer saying that, hey, we loved your robots. I have $400,000. I need to burn it. If I don't spend it, I'm going to lose it. That's the amount of capital that's been left over. What should I do? What all should I buy? So that same organization, they were not in budget season. They leased it. They are now left over with excess capital. Great problem to have. They're like, yep, let's go and give me a laundry list of things I need to go buy. And then we can do that as well. So it all boils down to where you are in your cycle and how easy is it to convince the capital committee. If it's going to be an uphill battle and it's going to be like this entire Game of Thrones style, oh, I'm only going to get capital if the other person doesn't get capital, and that entire mess, and you don't want to play that game, great. Leasing is a fantastic option. But they're like, no, actually, I have the money and my boss is great, or I'm the boss himself and I can decide all of this. You can pick and choose whatever you like. Personal recommendation, 3-year leases are great. Because every 3 years then, you can upgrade to the latest and greatest. It's like a car. Do a 3-year lease on your BMW. The next time the BMW releases a new version, turn that back in, get into the new BMW, and go back out. So that's a personal recommendation. Team? Oh, sorry. Any other questions? Otherwise, I'll let the team answer.
We have someone.
James.
So going on the lines of like the test drive, being able to do it, is there a test drive option with like a low cost and commitment sort of thing? And then with that, how does your solution, say a commercial solution, compare to say a consumer? Because most likely a boss is going to say, oh, I have a Roomba and whenever dog pee and I don't want one in my place.
I'll answer the second one first. I used to work for iRobot, the company that made Roomba. We were consultants for them. The budget we had to design a robot was $300. My entire robot had to be designed. All of the parts, manufacturing, everything had to come under $300. The robot you have behind you, that has the same budget as a Tesla. I drive a Model 3. I trust my life to it, to the full self-driving. It's a world difference. A $300 machine cannot compete against something that's the same budget and same technological level as a Tesla or a Waymo. So just on the commercial side, that's one. And then the second is reliability. That Roomba will break down within weeks of a commercial environment. Anybody who takes like a commercial Dyson, like if you take a Dyson, great vacuum. You take it to a commercial environment and make it run 12 hours a day for 6 days a week. Within 2 weeks, you're done. Same thing that will happen to the Roomba, that will not happen to this robot. So that's your first part. Regarding the first part of your question regarding test drives, yes and no. We can do demos for sure. Come over, see it. We can come over to your facility. You can come and touch it, feel it, see it in action. But the real value, you're not going to realize 6 months in. So if you want to see it in action, fantastic. We can definitely arrange for that. But if you're doing a 1-month pilot, you're not going to learn anything meaningful. So, are we at time? Or do we have time for one more question?
We can do one more if everybody's okay with that. One more.
Last question.
I just had a question about the maintenance. Is that included in the, when you lease it versus purchase it? Is that a separate plan you have to buy? And then when you show the like $500,000 in savings on the robot, was that including the maintenance on the, on the robot?
So whenever we sell, we include by default all service, warranty, maintenance is included in. There are other people who sell it the way you would buy it with, it's like buying a car without insurance. You can buy a car and not have insurance. Bad idea. We strongly recommend get the service and warranty because you don't want to be left with a really fancy paperweight. So by default, we always have it included. For other people, don't. So pick and choose what you wish.
What was the time on that? The length of the warranty?
Up to 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah, 5 years, bumper to bumper, anything and everything.
So up to, you're purchasing up to 5 years?
Sorry.
Oh.
I can actually add to that. We have a unit that we released here in the US market back in 2019. We are still offering warranty and support on those units. And that's a flip phone type unit. You have next gen technology out there that's the latest and greatest, but that original OG model, that's that flip phone, you all know your teams. You're gonna know, hey, like what are they capable of using? What do I actually need? Do I need something really, really basic, or do I need something that is gonna have all the latest bells and whistles? And so those are some of the things that we wanna have those understandings as we're solutioning out. And yes, like we can create those different packages around your budgets that, hey, you're going to get that bumper to bumper coverage.
I have one question. I'm just looking at the size of the machine and saying, looking at spaces that we have, like the tight quarters or tight spaces, how does it maneuver around those? Say if we were having it vacuum this room with all the chairs. So to take a human to remove the chairs and stuff. Is it primarily a good use for open spaces like hallways?
So majority of what we do are larger open spaces. So in a school or a university, your hallways, fantastic. Auditoriums, even better. Your basketball court, great application. Mop it, scrub it all day, every day. That being said, this one is, even though on the smaller end, like if we were to deploy it in this room, it would be able to go in between this table, take care of this entire space. It won't get in between the chairs, but it should be able to take care of this entire walkway. And the beauty of these machines are they're very good at adapting into dynamic spaces. So today it's set up lecture style. Tomorrow there are no tables whatsoever. The robot will automatically adjust and clean this entire space, saying that, oh, I don't have obstacles in front of me. Let me go clean everything.
Different size units for different size environments. Let's say a student union building. Hey, you might have a big open atrium. Depending on the square footage and hey, your goals, you might want to have maybe a larger unit, but some of the smaller corridors might be the unit that you see back there. So within a single environment, you might have two different solutions.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it.